With Hytale having been released into early access just a few days ago, many of you might have wanted to experiment with its built-in machinima features. One issue I ran into was that I couldn't find any explanations on how to add customized humans to my Hytale Machinima project. Eventually, I figured out how to use the built-in asset editor to do this, and so I've compiled this tutorial to show you how it works. Please note that Hytale has not yet released official instructions, so this might not be the official or most efficient solution to this problem. At the end of this video, you will be able to customize human characters and add them to your world to create scenes like the one you see here. Now, to get started, you'll want to create a creative world. For this tutorial, we'll just be heading to the normal Zone 1 world from the Creative Hub. And from here, we can look for a nice place to pose our characters. Now, one quick tip, I have no clip enabled, which can help you get different perspectives on your scene. To enable no clip, head into your inventory, and on the right side, under the settings tab, you can enable no clip here. Also, make sure you have allow NPC detection off, so you don't have NPCs running into your scene. Now, to get started with our first human character, we want to create a machinima scene. Now for that, you press B to bring up the creative tools and click Machinima. Here we want to create a new scene. I'll call this one Tutorial 1, and then add an actor of the type entity. We can give that any name, for example, Human 1. Now, when you create that character, it will look like this. This is not what we want. We can position this around by clicking it and moving it around a bit. So I'll just place him on the ground here. But as we can see, this one is still very much basic and not customized. Now, the first instinct might be that just press right click and edit the settings to customize the character. Sadly, that does not work like that. We will need this later on, not right now. The first thing you need to do to customize this character is you need to go under Assets and click the Asset Editor. If the game tells you that you do not have permission to use the Asset Editor, you have to press Enter to bring up the chat and type /op self. This will grant you operator privileges on the local server. For context, any world in Hytale emulates a Hytale server. You do not need to be on a server for this to work. Now, once we've done that, click B to bring up the creative tools again, click Assets and Asset Editor. It will tell you that it is starting the Asset Editor, and that one will open in a separate tab. Okay, apparently that did not do it, so we're just going to click it again, and there it is. Now just wait for the Asset Editor to load, and here we are. If you get stuck on this first screen that you just saw, and it tells you that it couldn't connect to the server, just close the Asset Editor and open it again. Now, the first thing you want to do here is, under Assets, you can search for Player, and scroll down here until you see, here, Model Assets, Human, and then these three. You can see this is the one that's used right now. This is the base player model. This is what we have right here. And then there are two test models. Now, to add our own character, we need to first create an asset pack, since the default asset pack is read-only. You can create an asset pack by clicking up here on the three dots next to Hytale read-only, and click Add Pack, and then give it a name. I will name this one Tutorial, and put in my name here. All of these are optional. You don't need them for just your local pack. Click Add, and now when you click up here, you will see your own asset pack. Now, when we go back to the Hytale tab and look for the player again that we have selected, there it is. You can right-click the player and click Duplicate. Now, your asset pack will be selected by default, and you can leave all these settings just as they are, but you do need to give it a unique asset ID. This is something that you put into the Machinima editor later to actually set the model. I'm going to call this one Custom Human Tutorial. Click Create. You will automatically switch to your asset pack, and you can already see there are a lot of things in here now. Now, we will just look for Human, because we've called it Custom Human, and it will show up here. If you click it, it won't show anything here, but if you just switch tabs and go back to it, it will display. So this is just the base model that we start from. Now, how do we add something to it? So, to actually customize this, we need to use the Attachments tab down here. Now, you see 5 attachments on here already. If you open these up, you can see this, for example, is the player face, and you have a few settings here. So, you have a model, texture, gradient set, and gradient ID. Gradient ID is how you actually change colors. So, if I change this, we're gonna have a differently colored face. Now, I'm going to leave this as the default. You need to change the color for the skin and the whole body separately if you want to actually change the skin color. Now, the first thing that's actually going to be interesting is attachment number 1 here. You see it says here body attachment ears1.blocky model. Now, if we click this, you see a selection of 2 things here. You see ears1.blocky model and elf ear small blocky model. Let's say we want to add the elf ears to this character. We just double click this, and this looks weird. That is because we have not selected the correct texture for this model. To do that, you just click the texture tab down here, and then you'll see you are under ears1_textures. That's the textures for the ear 1 model. Now we want to go back here, click ears, and then you have the elf ear small texture.png. Double click that, and there you go. We have successfully changed the ears. You can also change the skin color in here if you've changed the skin color on the other parts beforehand. Now, moving on to the second one, we have the mouth. This one's a little confusing. You need to keep this model for the mouth and just change the texture to actually get a different mouth on this character. Changing the gradient here also changes the color of the mouth. Now, under number 3, we have the eyes, and this is where it starts to get interesting. You see here, under gradient set, it says eyes gradient, and gradient ID brown. If you click this, you have a lot of selections for the actual color of the eyes here. Let's say we want blue eyes. Wonderful, now we have blue eyes. Now with the eyes, it's the same as with the mouth. You want to keep this model, but you can change the texture here. And this is where you have all the different kinds of eyes. For example, the almond eyes. We select those, we see different pupils. On number 4, we have the eyebrows. This is also the same. You keep the model the same and just change the texture. There you go. I've changed the texture. And also down here, you can change the color of the eyebrows. Now, customizing this is great and all, but we're still on the basic human character. He has no hair, no clothes, no nothing. What if we want to add clothes? Well, that's where it gets complicated. If you want to add clothes or hair, we'll start with the hair. You click on the plus here under default attachments and you add one. Now, this will add a new item to this list. And when you open it, there's nothing in it. That's what we want. Now, first of all, we need to look up the model for whatever we want to add. So let's add a model for a hairstyle. If you click this, there will be nothing. And that's completely normal because you are on your asset pack. What you want to do is click up here and switch to the Hytale asset pack. Now you're back in the Hytale asset pack where all the default assets from Hytale are. You'll find the hair under characters and then haircuts. And this is where you find all the different haircuts. So anything with a .blocky model extension is fair game. Now you don't have a preview for this here yet. I hope that that comes soon. But by the names, you can already see which one is which. So for example, let's say we want to add here. Let's say we want to add the lazy style. So we double click that and you'll see, oh, that looks weird. But as we've talked about before, this is because we have not yet assigned the texture. For the texture, we go through the same process. We click the empty texture tab. We switch to the Hytale asset pack. And then you have to follow the same folder structure that you used for the model. So characters, haircuts, and then there is either going to be a folder which contains multiple textures for the same model, or just one texture for the model. So if we scroll down here, you will actually find, or you can just search it in here, lazy. You'll find lazygrayscale.png. You double click that, and there we go. That looks a lot better. but we want to change the color. For that, you need to click the gradient set and set that to hair. And now you'll see we can't really change the color. This is where Hytale is still a bit iffy, and I have not yet figured out a way to make this work well. So the workaround for this is you need to go into source up here. You just click that, and don't be scared by all of this data. This is just what you edit in the editor, just in text. What you want to do is get the scroll bar right here and drag that all the way down, so right at the bottom. And then you will see right here, it says model, character, haircuts, lazy.blocky model. This is the one we just added. And as you can see here on the other things, it says gradient ID and then something. Okay, so what we will want to do is we will type a comma here behind gradient set hair. Right here, this is where you need to place a comma. This is important. Then we'll go into a new line. And right here, we can just copy this. So select all of this until the very beginning. Copy it with Control C in my case. Then go in here, Control V to paste it in, and you have a gradient ID blue dark. You can change this to anything. You can change this to red. It's not really important because once we click Apply Changes, you'll see the color changes, and when we go back to the editor now, we will have the drop-down menu. I have no idea why this works, but it does. So for the other one, we had blue dark, so let's go with the same one for the hair as we did for the eyebrows. So you can see now we have hair here. Now, the next important part is obviously adding any clothing related items. So to do that, you'll add another attachment, and this is going to be the same process. We have an empty attachment, and now we need to look up a model. Same thing as before, switch to the Hytale asset pack, and this one's important. All the cosmetic items are under the folder cosmetics. Now you'll see all of the different categories here. And whatever you want to add first, just add that first. I will start with the undertops here. So I double click undertops, and now I will see a few different blocky models here. We have basic undertop, long sleeve shirt, top, t-shirt, and void bearer cursed arm. I'll go with the long sleeve shirt, but you can use anything you want. So I'll add the long sleeve shirt, and as we can see, it does not have a texture yet, as always. For that, we'll go back, texture, Hytale asset pack, follow the same folder structure, so cosmetics, undertops, and now this is where the folders come into play. Some of the models have different textures, so multiple textures that you can use for the same model. This is why there are folders for these textures. So we're going to long sleeve shirt textures because we've selected the long sleeve shirt model. And here we will have a lot of different textures. These are actually previewed on the right here, so you can select one that you like. I do recommend designing the characters in the actual character designer first and writing down the name of all the cosmetics you picked. This is going to make this part a lot easier. So for example, let's say we want to go for the double shirt grayscale here. So let's add that. And as you can see, it's on the character now. But as always, it doesn't have a color yet. Same thing as before, but now we want to select the gradient set colored cotton. For this, you can honestly select any gradient set, but I like to go with colored cotton. I'll show you the different ones in a bit though. So once we've selected that, we need to do the same thing as before. Go back to source, scroll all the way down, and then here you can see this is the long sleeve shirt.blocky model. And this is where we want to add a gradient ID. So what we want to do is, again, go behind this, place a comma, press enter for a new line, and then we copy in this gradient ID again. Click apply changes, and you can see that didn't do anything. That's because colored cotton does not have a blue dark option. That doesn't matter though, because now we have the drop down menu and we can just select anything from here. So for example, cream. Great, we have a shirt on this character now. Now, we just repeat this process with the pants and anything else. So we'll just add pants to this character as well. You should know the process by now. Go to the Hytale asset pack, select cosmetics, pants, look up some pants, for example, let's say the leather pants, add them, then add the texture for the leather pants, cosmetics, pants, And then we'll see that this is apparently not listed under the folders. This is because the leather pants only have one texture, not multiple variants. So you just double click this, and there's the texture. Now, add the colored cotton or whatever gradient set you like. Go to sources, scroll all the way down, add a comma, new line, and paste in the gradient ID, apply changes, go back to the editor, and then just select the color that you like. Now this one has minimal variance on the actual color, so the only thing that seems to change are the knee pads, but that's okay. Now, you just continue on doing this until you have added all of the things you want. So when adding new attachments, basically everything is under cosmetics. Now, what's also important to note is if you want to add beards, they are all under character and body attachments. This is where you'll find beards, ears, eyebrows, eyes, faces, mouth, everything. So this is where you can add beards. Another important thing is that if you are looking for earrings, they are also in the folder head. So this contains all of the hats and earrings. But you are not limited to adding one head model. You can add as many as you want. Now, we'll just keep this basic character for now, because we want to move on to the next part of the tutorial. But like I said, you can customize this as much as you want. Now, we're going to leave the asset editor open, but we're going to tap back into Hytale, and it's important that you memorize what you named this asset right here. So I named this Custom Human Tutorial with all new words in capital letters. So now if we tap back into Hytale and go back to the Machinima mode, then select our human, right click and say Edit Settings, you see a model input here. Now, memorizing what we put in here, Custom Human Tutorial, go back in here and type the exact same thing, Custom Human Tutorial. You click Save Changes, and boom, there it is. Apparently it hasn't saved the pants yet. Okay, we can see that this character doesn't have pants right now, and this is a common issue that you might run into. Because of the missing documentation for Hytale, I don't actually know why that is. I'm going to try to add some other pants. For example, let's add the pants straight and then also the pants straight texture, but those might actually be up here. Yes, pants straight texture. And then we can just add anyone we want, like this one. We'll see these are the brown pants, and we'll just leave them brown for now. You know how to add a gradient set by now. And then when you tap back into Hytale, you actually want to right click the human, edit settings, and then change the model back to player, and then change it back to our custom name, so it updates the model, and then the pants should be there. In that case, the leather pants just seem to have some kind of issue with Hytale itself. Now we have our little custom human in here. We can move our custom human around and do whatever, but the only thing he's doing is standing still. What if we want to pose him a little? So if you want to pose him, you can actually just hold Alt and then click the little box under him. And then you have a few different rotation axes here. So it's important you don't have to hold down the mouse, you just click it once, and then it's selected. And then when you start to turn it, you see the head will start to turn. And when you turn it further, the body will turn with it. So that's how you actually turn the head. You can turn the head this way using the yaw axis, and then with the red one, you can make him look up and down. With the blue one, side to side. Just play with this until you're happy. And then just right click to close this again. Now, but we do want to add an animation because he just stands there kind of stiffly. There is no official list of animations yet, but do not fear, we have a solution. Because if we look into the asset editor again, and we click on animations under our little custom human, you can see a list of every animation that there is. And for this one, we're gonna want to use the sit ground animation. So we remember this name, sit ground, and we go back into the Machinima editor, click our little human, click events, and then add an event. The event type is gonna be animation, so we add that, and then edit. Now you're gonna want to put in the animation ID, which is sit ground, which we just checked from here. So the sit ground, you save it, and then you're gonna see that nothing happens. what you actually need to do is, this is a little tricky, right click on the time frame to add a second keyframe, and then play this once. And that will bring your character into this position. Why? Don't ask me. But the character will stay in this position, and when you alt and click again, you can also change the head rotation again, just to match it with what you want to do. So you can do this with any animation, and so you can use this in tandem with the normal Machinima tools, with just animating. You can add animations while animating a character. But yeah, this is how you add your own custom little humans to your Hytale Machinima project. Now, if you did find this helpful, I would appreciate a like, maybe even a subscription to the channel. And I do wish you a lot of fun with your projects. Goodbye.